I'm on a Conor McGregor hate train at the moment, aren't I?
A little bit.
I know. I'm going for his head, bro. But shit, man. He's just not.
He sucks at fighting. No.
Yeah, that's right. He's a bitch, and I'm calling him out right now. Conor McGregor, if you're watching this right now, it's on, bro. Give me that pay-per-view.
He definitely would be.
But... Welcome back, guys. We're here. We're talking smack. I'm here with Saki Boy. We're back for another UFC predictions episode. On this episode, we will be looking at our previous predictions for UFC 291 and our ones for the upcoming 292. We'll also be having a little bit of a chat into the Jake Paul-Nate Diaz fight and Conor McGregor's future with the UFC. That's it. Hope you enjoy.
Bang on. Here we go. Massive UFC card 2 weekends ago. UFC 291.
It was sick card.
Yeah, not bad. It was a lot of cancellations, at the start, and then at least they got the card sorted, kind of thing, and they just were able to move people up. Derek Lewis was already on the preliminary card, so you've instantly got a big shot right there. You can able to push straight up.
Yeah, that's right. Move it straight up.
Yeah. This first fight of the night was it was Kevin Holland versus Michael Chiesa.
Yes.
And
Kevin Holland put on a clinic.
Pretty obvious one. I feel like we picked that pretty quick.
Yeah, I was about to say we were both definitely ready for that one, most definitely.
Yeah, Kevin Holland kind of pieced him apart up top, and then literally as soon as it went to the ground,
it was over.
Just tapped him out. Yeah. The one place Michael wanted to get him.
That's right. That's right. It's good, and it shows how you It shows how if you have a really good stand-up, you can also back it up really well with your ground game and stuff like that as well. Sure. It doesn't matter how good the other person is on the ground. If you can stand up and you can bop and you can rock them, you can always get them to that stage, on the ground, and they just, sort of have no clue. But I suppose it's the whole way around. But yeah, no, impressive win from Kevin Holland for sure.
Very impressive. He bloody deserved it, and he's on to the next one now.
That's right.
After getting stitched up a while back, but I love Kevin Holland for the fact he just keeps on fighting.
He
fights very consistently.
Yeah, he's always on the cards, and he's entertaining to watch too. Especially if you get him at the Apex or something like that, when he can start talking and he's obviously talking in all his fights and stuff like that just to get in their heads. But no, he's a fun fighter to watch. Just from a backstage point of view, but also from his consistency in his fights and how good he is.
Yeah, he loves that talking.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have the saddest match of the night, Bobby Green versus Tony Ferguson.
Man, honestly, the memes that came out of that with Ferguson, and it was when does he decide to give up? And I saw a post afterwards. Of Ferguson being that fight would have been different if it weren't for the eye poke.
Yeah, I saw that.
But then he's like, nah, me and my team are going to get back together and we're going to see what I can do to get back in the octagon. It's oh man, he's coming up on a very hot, loss streak.
Yeah, very bad.
And I think he's got 5 or 6 losses in a row now, and it's slowly, approaching that sort of BJ Penn, loss streak, and it's sad to see. You wanted him to get up, and it's one of those things where I think pretty much everyone knew that Bobby Green was going to get up, and it didn't look as far out as what it did.
No, not as what I thought at first. Yeah.
But it was sad to see, and I think it will definitely come down to what Tony Ferguson's management team decide to do moving forward to sort of reiterate and whether or not it's still worth him fighting. I mean, he's got a brilliant legacy as it is, and was an absolute beast back in the day. But I think you almost put it like a Robbie Lawler sort of wants to go out on a big high, and that'll be really good for him. I don't want to see them, sort of cheapskate him either in his leaving of UFC. I'd like to see him fight, someone half decent, get up, and then just call it quits.
Yeah,
but will we see that with Tony Ferguson? Because I almost feel like you'd go, nah, I just won that fight. Now I've got it back in me. Let's run it back. And then, I don't want to give him that confidence, because then he's just going to go back down that downhill spiral. But I think that's sort of what you've got to speak about is what's next for Tony Ferguson after this.
100%. Because to that point as well before, I feel like the UFC didn't before, but this fight they tried to give him somewhere a little bit not to diss Bobby Green, but a little bit less high caliber of a fighter to hopefully get him up on a good streak. And it was a decent fight. Bobby Green was up the whole time, but like at least Tony wasn't getting manhandled like he has the last couple in a sense. So it is sad to see, but at least they gave it a crack. It shouldn't have went for that roll. He wouldn't have got tapped in the last 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but again, impressive win for Bobby Green, and he got up and good on him, and it just makes it really interesting for what we're going to see next from Tony Ferguson.
100%. See what the matchmakers have in store for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still keen to go.
That's man.
They've got to give him something.
Will he ever stop?
It's a bit like
we've got to get to that stage where we just decide, will he ever stop? And I think he's just going to keep going until the UFC eventually go, righto, mate. Enough's enough.
It's over.
Yeah.
Because it's only so long, but he's still a draw now, sort of, but it's only so much longer before that people are like, can't be bothered going to watch someone lose. Or support someone lose.
Gets a little bit too predictable after a little bit.
Exactly,
so, where do you go from there is the question.
Yeah, but hopefully he has something sorted. Sad old Tony Ferguson. It's all right, though. Then we had Stephen Thompson versus Michael Pereira. But that guy
fell through.
That fell through because Pereira missed weight by 3 pounds. I think it was.
It raises the topic, doesn't it? It was really sad for Wonder Boy because, obviously all fighters when they're getting into shape, it's super hard to cut weight. Like it's not easy and it's super rough. But for those that actually make the weight and then don't get to fight and don't get paid for it, I think that's pretty rough.
It is rough.
You get the tough end of the stick of having to train really hard. They're like everyone in the UFC trains their absolute ass out to make sure that they're peak for their performances. Then obviously you've got the weight cuts on top of that, and for most of them that's what makes their living. So if they're not getting fights and it's because somebody else hasn't done their part, is that fair for them to, even not get a fight afterwards, like some catch weight or something like that? Yeah,
100%. There's like two sides to it, and I did listen to Dana White and Stefan both talk on it, and it's both of them. I was like, that's fair, because Dana White's like, look, he's 3 pounds overweight. If he fights, regardless, Stephen Thomas gets his fight purse or whatever, or half his fight purse, which is whatever I guess Michael's getting paid if they fight, but. And then he's even said, and we went on to say, I'll fix his, we obviously will reimburse him for, fight camp fees and stuff like that. There's certain things we will reimburse, but we're not paying people for not fighting.
Yeah, that's
And then Stefan's like, well, he's like, I did all the right things. I made weight. I vowed a long time ago to never... Because the whole Darren Till fight a while back, that's what he based it on. He said after that fight, he's never fighting anybody that doesn't make weight. If you don't make weight, you don't fight.
Yeah.
That's his...
And that's fair.
And he's like, I should get paid too, but we'll figure that out, I guess.
That's right. It's totally fair, and I think this day and age, I don't think if you don't make the weight, I think that's very poor, and it's not a good look for you, and I think it shouldn't come down to not having the rewards for if you do make the weight, but it should almost come down to some sort of punishment for if you don't make that weight.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's a suspension from fighting or whether or not something else comes into it. But I don't think that's fair on everyone that was keen to see that fight, us included, and everyone else. I mean, it's it's on the main card, so you would expect something big from that, but it's a real shame, and I don't like seeing it. Even when it somehow miraculously works out, when you look at Chimaev that did it with Kevin Holland for that matter, yes, they swapped it around. Yes, it could have maybe been better fights, but that's not fair for fighters that have a whole camp based around somebody else, and I think that sort of goes into some of our picks later on. But at the same time, if you've prepped the whole camp for one person, they miss weight, and somebody else comes in and they go from an orthodox fighter to a completely different fighter, it throws out the whole game, and I don't think that's fair on the people that make weight.
100%, yeah. I mean, I think, speaking of that fight as well, about Hamzat, in those scenarios, right, it's a completely different fighter. I think Kevin Hall was meant to fight, was meant to fight like Lee Jingling or something. It was like then he gets Hamza and it's like, oh well, here we go.
Yeah, that's right.
I haven't prepared for this. But yeah.
And the problem was with that was that he missed weight and then he was bragging about it, being like, I don't care, I'll smash whoever. And that's, I mean, it's kind of tough. Like, I'll give you that. Like, it's kind of tough, and I respect that to a degree.
Yeah.
But you missed weight, and to be fair, he wasn't close. But you know,
Yeah,
like, it's like
he missed weight. He was the weight division above.
Yeah, that's right. So you don't.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, and it's you know, poor, and I think that the UFC should be a little bit stricter.
Yeah.
Even if they just give people more time to cut weight, or you know, plan these a little bit further in advance. We do have main cards that are very into the foreseeable future, but I almost feel like they should announce fights a lot later, and then at least that way, because they obviously do like the main events for a few fights like coming and stuff like that, but it's hard to book. I understand that for the UFC, but it'd be much better if people knew who they were fighting, when they were fighting, and they had, you know, a certain amount of months to do it. So, you know, they were well ahead of the schedule.
Like a league, like posting the games of like like NBA, for example, or like they know their whole schedule practically the whole season. Like, because it's like they play the same teams just in that like order. And sometimes it gets mixed up, but most of the time it doesn't. I think every NBA team's first game of the season is the same team they play like at the start of every single season. Like, something like that. Like a little bit more, I guess, like you said, though, it's hard to do, I guess.
That's right. Scheduling a bit challenging.
Especially with weight, like people missing weight and stuff. Because then you've got to deal with both sides. Someone doesn't want to fight because they don't want to fight someone heavier than them.
No.
It's like, well, we're here.
And that's what it comes down to as well, is you could almost get away with like doing it, but it's not fair. And also, if then they lose, then of course the other person's going to turn around and say they didn't make the weight. They were heavier than me. They were healthier than me.
Built-in excuses.
Yeah, that's right. And it just automatically just throws that sort of debate into it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but anyway, that's a cancelled fight. So
that's right. We just spoke about that more than the other one so far. That's pretty embarrassing, isn't it? But it's interesting to talk about.
It is interesting because like the whole pay topic as well.
Yeah.
But at least they had a great backup, Derek Lewis.
Oh yeah.
And shout out to him. Fucking
the
underdog.
Oh, he's so good,
comes
man.
Out a flying knee.
I love him. He's so much fun. He's got so much energy. He's hilarious.
He's hilarious.
You almost, to a degree, I mean, you love watching him fight because he just goes out and goes hard.
He's a good chance that he's going to knock someone out.
That's right. It's with the most submissions, it's not most submissions, with the most knockouts in UFC history. You know, you sort of expect him to be a bit of a beast in that department.
For sure.
But you also get excited for his post matches because his post matches are just funny and he's really, really good. He just got a partnership with Manscaped because he had that whole thing with my balls are hot. Yeah. And then Manscaped came in and gave him like this like shaving package, and he's like, yeah, now my balls are cool. That's perfect. It's like, he's a total meme, but he's so much fun to watch, and I'm so happy that he made it onto the main card. He deserves to be there. Yeah. And he got a massive win. He came off a couple of losses there, but he's now come back and he's looking strong. UFC have just signed him on for another 8 fights on his contract or something like that. So he's now got a long career and he's still got it in him, and it's really good to see him being fit for his fights as well. Came out with a 6-pack out of abs, and it was like tough. So he looks really good for his fight, and good on him. He did really well.
No, he's killing it. I think we both kind of backed him going into that. Like, we already kind of not backed him because there wasn't a fight there that I think we did shout him out though. Yeah. Like, Derek Lucas always gets up.
Yeah. He's cool. I think we just back him because he is fun. And you've got to support those people because they're the people that you want to see on the cards. People that are going and having that fun and making an impact. And making it fun to watch. Making it fun to watch. There's a degree of whether or not you think certain fights are boring, and you don't like to see it. And hell, neither does Dana White. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do in order to get the win. Which I guess sort of leads us on to the next one, was Jean versus Pereira. Yeah. Everyone again was sort of a bit neck and neck on whether or not who won the fight in that one. But again, I think it comes down to if you've got control time, you've got to do a lot with it in order for it to look impressive and look fun.
Yeah.
If you look at somebody, it's completely different weight class, but Volkanovski, when he's on the ground, he's constantly making moves. He wants to get that ground and pound in.
Yeah.
Even, he's not exactly a classy submission artist, but he likes getting to the ground. And when he is on the ground, it's exciting to watch. And that's what you want to see. And if you have control time on the ground and you're just sort of sitting there getting your breath back, or just like sort of
just laying on them.
Yeah, just laying on them. It doesn't mean anything, and I really think that it just needs to. These fighters like Pereira that want to stand and bop and want to have some fun with it, and go in there to kill. They're the people that should be rewarded in these situations. Yes, there was way more control time on the ground for Jean, but at the same time, you've got to reward these fighters like Pereira that are going to fight. That's what we're here for. That's what we want to see. It's the Ultimate Fighting Championship, not the Ultimate Ground Control Championship. So.
Ultimate Jiu-Jitsu competition.
Yeah, that's right.
No, you're right. He's fighting. So at the same time, you don't want people just like he used that against Izzy, where it's like you do enough to the ref can't stop you, but you're just laying on top of him. You're just wearing them out. And it's like an old veteran move that like...
It makes sense.
It is boring. Like subjectively,
technically you can do it, but at the same time, because it does wear you out. They're just having anyone lie on you in any position, let alone trying to wrestle you or do whatever it is they're doing. That is exhausting, and it will take it out of you and all the rest. But if you're not making active moves in order to get the finish, then I think that's where you draw the line in that situation. Yeah. You definitely need to either get the damage on, go for the KO, or look for a submission attempt.
Yeah.
And it's difficult, but at the same time, wearing somebody out and then just continuously trying to do it but not doing anything with that is not a fun fight to watch. And it's not good. That was a good fight to watch, but at the same time, you can't award that sort of ground control behaviour.
Yeah. No, the Izzy fight was worse in that sense, but like this one, it was still exciting. At least there was still like a lot of significant strikes thrown by
definitely,
both. And,
definitely.
And Pereira definitely won those in the sense he outstruck him. So
you should expect that from moving up a weight class as well. Once you get to those light heavyweight fights, you expect to see knockouts, and you expect to see a little bit more, on the like fighting, as opposed to any sort of technical sides. Yeah. Sounds so dumb, but it's true.
It does, but they do. They are less technical when they're heavier hitters. So you do see it a lot more. It's just
they're bigger punches too.
Scrap it out.
They really are significant when they come in, and that's where that damage comes into it as well, because you actually see some very serious damage, and that's what you should expect to see in these divisions, and that's why I'm sort of a bit how you're going for ground control.
Now, even though I wanted Jan to win, it's probably a fair split decision. It's tough, but it's like the strikes are there. The
good on
damage is
Pereira
there.
too. I'm
sure.
happy for him because he's moved up a weight class. He had his whole beef with Izzy, whatever. But now he's moved up a weight class, and it's really impressive to see. I mean, you did see the whole thing about Pierre moved up a weight class to beat the guy that beat Izzy.
Yeah,
like that was a bit of a laugh. But it's good to see Pierre in light heavyweight. I think he deserves to be there. I think that's where he should be.
The fight proves it for sure, because he can hang with the rank.
Yeah,
so it's like he's up there.
Yeah, of course, he's really good. And he's fun to watch. And Pereira is one of those cool fighters, and I think doesn't deserve to be in this weight class, but this is where he is most comfortable. I think
he looks the best
looks
He looks big and strong, and he is big and strong. So he deserves to be in that weight class.
Yep,
looks a bit drawn out when he fights in the weight division below. When he gets to the weight,
definitely. When he gets on the scales, he looks like a skeleton. And he blows out a stupid amount of weight when he goes back on. So it's good to see him back in that light heavyweight division. Good.
And he can hold himself. So now we get to see the potential fights with a lot of those other top ones. So Jiri's next for him. They're calling each other out straight away.
Yeah,
like, let's get it on.
Unreal. Yeah, let's see it.
That'll be a good one.
Should be good.
We both got that one wrong. Sorry, guys.
We both sucked.
And then we got Justin versus Dustin. I like saying that.
Didn't get that one wrong.
But I did. So that's where we differed. We differed on that one for the picks, and Airy got up on that one, which means Airy's a solid what? 3 out of 4 because someone dropped out, but we did shout out Derek, so you could go for 4 for 5 out of that one.
Yeah, it's not
pretty good.
So bad.
I'm 3 for 5, so that's terrible.
That's all right. We can make it back on 292, but
but yeah, that was a really good fight. To be fair, it was ended earlier than what I thought. I thought they were kind of gonna go to war a little bit.
I'd love to see that slug match. I think I said that I wanted to see Justin Gaethje get up by decision. We both knew it wasn't going to happen, but at the same time, would have been really cool to see that war. But still a cool fight nonetheless.
Still a cool fight, and a patient I saw a meme where it was like a patient Justin Gaethje is the scariest fighter in the UFC. Because if he's patient and got that power, it's just. It's unmatched. And he's got wrestling background too. So
he's got the whole lot. He's so much fun to watch. He stands up and he bops, and that's the best part about both of them is they can both have a crack. And that's what you want to see in the baddest motherfucker fight title.
That is true.
We didn't have a belt on the line for that card, and I think that's sort of why the BMF thing came back into it.
Yeah, I reckon that's a good point. To be fair.
But on the same respect, go Gaethje. I'm so stoked that he got up, it was a brilliant fight to watch, and there was a battle of the baddest motherfuckers, and that's what we want to see.
Yeah, and it kind of ended the way we kind of want to see it too, with the knockout, head kick knockout.
Oh yeah,
it was kind of beautiful,
brutal knockout. Man.
Yeah, really good.
What do you expect? And he said that he didn't really ever train for that, and he just sort of threw it in there, and it worked. He did the boom headshot Leon Edwards shot and it goes to show that it works and it pays off, which is really cool.
Yeah. Even if they get a little bit of a block in there, it's too much.
Nobody likes to get kicked at all. No. Not fun.
Especially not on the side of the head.
The kicks did really well. I mean, you look at Derek Lewis as well earlier on the night. The kicks are where it's at. You got a lot of power in that, and even if you do have a strong guard, there's not much stopping that.
No, not really. Not with the power coming through. I actually did say after the fight, I was like, because I rewatched them, and I was like, I've got to stop going with my heart, because that was. After John and then Dustin, I was like, that's 2. That's 2 I've kind of based off, you can go either way, because with both those fights, I could have gone either way.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, my heart's telling me John, my heart's telling me Dustin.
Yeah.
Bang, both lose. So, no, not going on my heart anymore. Pure statistics.
Statistics only.
Only statistics and whatever the word is other for it.
Yeah, fair. To be fair, I picked Gaethje from the heart. I thought Poirier was probably gonna get up, but I really like Justin Gaethje as a fighter, and he looks really good. But but in the same respect, a good fight and a good way to finish it.
Great fight.
Sucked into George Masvidal. It was pretty funny too, because he had to give the belt to Gaethje, even though he's Poirier's partner, and they fight together and stuff like that. And Gaethje said in the pre-fight, he was like, I want to make Masvidal give me that belt, because I know he doesn't want to give it to me, and it'll make it so much better for me. And then he did.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and but it was a show of respect for both fighters too, and they both went in there and afterwards were really, really good about it. So
for sure, Dustin's very humble.
Yeah.
Justin's pretty good with it too, to be fair. They're both very humble.
Yeah, most definitely. I think the one thing that we can definitely touch on at some stage as well is the fact that Poirier's now said that he wants to move up a weight class too, which is really cool. There would be some awesome fights moving up. So
him looking bigger too. So
that's right. He looks good with some weight, and he's got that power, and he can stand and fight. So that'll be interesting moving up, and we can definitely look forward to seeing that in the future.
100%. So much potential matchups with that.
Most definitely.
So that tops us off for the UFC 291 card. It was a great card, to be fair, stacked. Yep. And then we might as well jump in straight to UFC 292.
292.
So now we can get our predictions going.
Yep. Beautiful stuff.
For the next ones.
Bang on.
Now that's this Sunday, guys. Get ready for that. It's going to be good.
Beautiful stuff. What have we got? What have we got first up on our?
Okay, so first fight's actually been scrapped. The Cody Garbrandt versus Mario fight. So we're kind of not going to talk about that, guys, because it got scrapped kind of before we actually double checked. We already had our picks which we mixed in with Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, I was about to say we had them
Now
all lined out, and now we're just...
Now it's Damon Blackshear fight. So we're going to skip that one, and we're just going to jump straight into Cheetah Vera versus Pedro Munoz. So that one's an interesting one because I actually love Cheetah Vera. Is Marlon Vera? Yep. I actually love him. He's sick.
I like seeing Cheeto, but yeah, Cheeto's good. Yep, Cheeto's really good.
He's very good. He obviously has that. He's probably the most memorable fight. He's fighting Sean O'Malley. And doing really good against him. Sean O'Malley did have the injury, but at the same time, put a clinic on kind of.
Yeah, that's right. It's cool to see them both fighting on the same card too.
Yeah.
Which I think will sort of end up in a bit of heat, I guess, when you're sort of coming into it. So the pre-fight for that one should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, if Cheetah if Cheetah gets a win and Sean wins, then there's much potential of Cheetah and him getting a face-off going.
Right. That's right.
Just for the hype show.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. And Sugar's all about that. And Cheeto's a scary-looking dude. So,
100%.
You can definitely expect to see that.
My prediction for this one's a little tougher because, I think it can go either two ways. I think because Cheetah Vera is very good at knocking people out in a sense. He finds knockout shots, but he can be a bit stagnant in between rounds, and Pedro's a very big one for stalking down, always coming forward and just putting pressure on kind of thing. So it's Cheetah could find the knockout, or if it goes to decision, it's probably going to be Pedro.
Yeah, sure.
But you've got to pick one. I'm probably going to go with Pedro's the good underdog. That's the only reason I'm stuttering. Yeah. But Cheetah for the knockout is what I'm feeling. But I've been trying not to go with heart. But I'm going back to it. going back to it.
No, stick with the heart, brother.
Stick with the heart. I reckon Cheetah Vera will get up on this one. I reckon he'll knock him out.
No, that's really good. That's really good. Do you have a round that we're going for here?
Probably later. Probably to find him a while to pick it down. Maybe late second, third round.
Yep.
TKO.
Yep. Nice. I'm looking for Cheeto Vera in this fight as well. A lot of his fights of recent have sort of went to decision, but he can find that knockout angle when it's applicable. He's just come off a loss to Corey Sandhagen too, so I wouldn't be surprised if he has to come and look into proving he's still got it. It was a sort of a big loss for him, so no doubt he's going to come in. He's going to want to find a show, and I'm going to go Cheeto Vera. Probably round 3 knockout.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. That's a fair call. We're both riding with Cheetah this time.
Yep.
He's solid, to be fair.
Yeah, back him in. Cheetah Vera for the win in that one.
And then we've got Neil Magny versus Ian Gary.
Yes.
Now that's the new one. It was actually Jeff Neal
and
the first,
Ian Gary.
But now that one's been switched to Neil Magny because Jeff's pulled out. I actually don't know the reason why Jeff's pulled out, to be fair.
Yeah, neither do I. But I think this also revolves back to what we were talking before with Wonderboy and people training in a camp for so long for certain fighters and those kind of things, and then seeing it switch. You've now got Ian Gary, who was initially fighting a southpaw fighter, and now he's that's what he's went his whole camp for, and going for someone different height, different size, different technique, and now he's sort of now had to shift his whole thing out of a late pull out, so he's had to change his camp last minute. Does it bring it back in? Do I think that matters in the slightest? No. I think Ian Gary is probably the most promising prospect in UFC at the moment, most definitely. He's so much fun to watch. Good striker, just brilliant all around the board. I don't think in Ian's words, I don't think that Neil Magny can gatekeep an actual position from him now. I think he's gonna move his way onto into the ranks from this one. Good.
He's it's a tough one because I bet they always hate giving up their spots in the sense of their rank. Once they're ranked, they're like, oh.
There's a lot on the line.
Giving up a higher spot for Ian, but there's a lot more on the line for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
And you are right about how it's a different type of fighter because Neil's very long and lanky, so it's like, it's gonna be. And Ian's kind of long and lanky, so it is going to be a match of both the lankies here.
It should be pretty good. I'm fairly sure according to like sports bets odds, we're looking at Ian Gary here at like $1.18, but I still think that Ian Gary is going to get up, but I don't think it should be that much of a blowout in that sense. So I think that there will be angles that Neil Magny can get for. I think Ian Gary is trained for a different camp completely. So whether or not he's coming into this as prepared as what you'd think, we're not really sure in this scenario. But we're looking for Ian Gary. We're looking for Ian Gary round 3 again for knockout.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. I don't want to be so stale, but I think I agree with you pretty much to the extent there, because I feel like Ian Gary will finish him. Because I feel like Neil likes to wrestle, but he is long and he kind of can use his length to kind of help out. But Ian's a good wrestler too, and he got great combinations, and he loves striking. So, and my heart again keeps coming back out, but I get the feeling he's on a tear and he's hungry. Like he's hungry for it.
100%.
And that comedy's fair. Neil Magny's a bit of a gatekeeper. He's been around for a little bit.
He has. I was just looking before. I think he's got 39 fights. Like 39 fights.
It's a
lot of fights.
It's like pro MMA fights too.
That's right. Like, what do you? Yeah, you know, and I suppose that also comes into experience as well. It's never been an issue with Ian Gary, and he's always came in and put a performance on. And he's got a lot of first round knockouts under his belt. Like he comes out and he wants to fight and he wants to find that finish, which is fun, good to watch. Like as I said earlier, but we should definitely expect Ian Gary. Well, at least I'm going to expect Ian Gary to have a little bit more of a challenge with this fight. Round 3 knockout.
Yeah, fair. It's tough to say, but Ian Gary, second round, third round TKO. I reckon he'll finish him. Maybe even earlier, to be fair. It might even be a first-round knockout. It
would be cool to see him come out. I think Neil Magny is going to be ready for this.
Yeah.
And he's going to play it a lot safer. So can Ian Gary find that angle early will be the question.
Yeah.
Very safe bet is rounds 2 and 3, but
safer for sure.
But yeah, I think it's going to drag out a little bit longer, and Ian Gary's going to find that this will be one of his hardest matchups so far, and especially against a ranked fighter. So it should be interesting to see.
Should be very interesting. Both taking Ian, just different rounds.
Yep.
So that's nice and easy.
So you're going 2, and
I'll go 1 or 2. Yeah, I reckon
come
early.
on, bro, you got to pick one.
2.
Go round 2. Round 2. Yep. Perfect.
First round's usually a good feel out round, especially for someone so long like Neil.
Yeah.
So I reckon second round Ian will have him figured out, and then he'll take advantage of it, knock him out.
Perfect.
That leads us to our next one.
Bang on. We've got Zhang versus Lemos for the next one.
Yeah.
Zhang is arguably my favourite female UFC fighter.
She's a beast.
I say this all the time, man. I genuinely say this all the time that female fighters make a spot as my favourite UFC fighters. But Zhang is built different, man. She's so cool. She's a little tank. Oh man, she is an absolute freak, and her arsenal is just There's
huge.
Like you can't she can. Has the stamina to go the distance. She has the striking power to knock anyone out, and she's brilliant on the ground. Where do you fault this? Where do you fault Zhang as a fighter? I think she's really, really good and just very underrated. Nama Yunus got her there at one stage and was partial champion for a bit. Also, again, really, really good fighter, but you can expect to see. You can expect to see Zhang actually have a crack here. It should be really, really good.
Yeah. Now Lemos is good jiu-jitsu and she's a decent striker, but her last loss was against I forget what her name is, but the girl she versed is like a less polished version of Wei Li, and Wei Li's like way more polished. She's good on the ground. She's good at grappling. She's good at striking. She's good everywhere. Like you said, she's got an amazing arsenal of weapons.
Yeah.
So this one's an easy one for me, to be fair.
Yeah.
And the thing is with Zhang, it is the thing of Arsenal. I don't know whether it's going to be a TKO or a submission, but I know it's going to be a finish. I reckon a safe bet is finish. And usually with these girl ones, they go a little bit longer in, so third or fourth round. It's hard to pick.
Yep.
I reckon late though, third round.
I've backed it off. I definitely said Wei Li was going to. I came out strong there, and I said that she was really good and all the rest. But I sort of skipped over Lemos a little bit there. But she is a brilliant striker. I think that
She is a good striker.
I think she can stand and hold her own. She's got a really good highlight reel of her showing how good her striking is, and her jiu-jitsu is really good too.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be as much of a blowout as what people think it is. And as you said earlier, those female fighters tend to last a little bit longer because they do have that stamina and less less power in their shots.
Yeah.
I'm going Zhang for decision here in this fight to swap it out a little bit. I don't think there's a place in there where she will lose in that sense, and I think she can afford to draw it out and look for that decision. But I don't see Lemos going down without a fight. But it'll just be interesting to see how good her striking is against Wei Li.
Yeah, very good point, to be fair. I did kind of skip over Lemos a little bit too, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it's just because, I don't know, I'll never get a bet against Zhang, in a sense. Every fight she's had, I've been like, nah, she's going to... Even I don't even think I watched the Rose one live, but even looking back, I feel like I would have just backed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely...
As soon as she became champion, it's like, yeah, she's top dog.
Yeah. There was a massive hype train behind the Thug there for a little bit, but she's sort of moved... Well, she's obviously not the champion now, so it sort of goes to show that she can make do where it needs to be. And Zhang's a brilliant fighter. We're going for decision in that one for sure.
Fair. I'll go for the finish. I reckon it's hard to pick which one, but good finish. I reckon finish third or fourth. It's hard to pick. I'll go fourth. Actually, I'll switch to fourth round, but a finish, whether it's submission or knockout, I can't even pick. It's because I just know. Her Arsenal's too. It just depends what's the best opportunity at the time.
That's it. That's it. I mean, again, we've been backtracking a little bit this entire podcast, but at the same time, when you can rock somebody and then go in for the submission, or if that's what it's going to come down to, as soon as somebody's tired, then that's when your ground and your submission and looking for those submissions can come into play. So,
100%.
Can we pick them apart in that time? We're not sure, but no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Could go either way.
Yeah, for sure. Not too sure. And then we got the that was the co-main event, and then we got the main event: Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Aljamain Sterling, which is a big one.
This fight has been. We've been looking for this for a long time.
For sure.
To be fair, everyone has jumped straight on the O'Malley train and has just got really, really behind him because he's not like Conor McGregor in a sense, but he's got his own following outside of the UFC, which has just absolutely skyrocketed him an absolute ton. If we look, sort of into Sean O'Malley a bit here, he's coming off a win off Peter Yan, which is big. Peter Yan is a scary fighter.
Yeah.
That could have gone either way.
Definitely.
I don't think O'Malley won that fight
That one's such a
convincingly,
tough
but
one,
that was one of those ones where damage prevailed.
It's that big knee to the head. It's more damage to the head.
Yeah, that's right. And he came out bleeding, and O'Malley just looked very cozy in that fight, and I think that's what got him through. I still think Peter Yan, got a little bit more work done there, but just because he opened him up, I think the damage just got through in that.
Yeah,
in that
gets a nod from the judges for sure. Especially like you said. Sean didn't not like he didn't look phased and wasn't beat up a little bit, but he didn't look busted up completely or anything like that. Bjorn had the big scar on his head, bleeding bled like crazy too.
Yep. Which skyrocketed him in the ranks, and with his with his social media presence and everyone jumping on this Sugar train, it definitely increased his chances of getting the title shot, which he's now got against Sterling. So now I suppose looking onto Sterling here a little bit, he just fought Henry Cejudo, and won fairly well, especially considering Henry's a very good wrestler, and sort of in that realm of can take it to the ground with Aljamain if he needs to. So that sort of makes it sort of interesting to see in this fight as well how he's going to compete against a stand-up fighter like O'Malley in that sense, which makes it interesting. Also, Sean O'Malley hasn't had a fight in a very long time. We're talking pretty much a year, but since Peter Yan, that was over a year ago. So what has O'Malley been doing since then? Has he been training as consistently? He's clearly on social media an absolute ton, making a business for himself. I have no doubt that he trains hard. But has he been waiting for this fight for a while? In the same sense, has he been training for jiu-jitsu? I think he did a tournament just recently, and
possibly did actually.
And he's like a blue belt or something like that. So enough to hold his own. Has he done a camp for Sterling in particular? Will be the question. And how long has he had this on his mind for? Yeah. I'd say a long time. And with his social media presence, he might have just been waiting out for this fight.
True.
Which could be interesting because obviously he's got those people backing him. People want to see him in a main event. He's going to get the pay-per-views.
He's number one ranked. So I'm there now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So he's done what he's needed to do to get to the top. So I'd almost say that he's been ready for this fight for a long time.
Yeah.
And his camps have been for Sterling. And Sterling isn't... Sterling has a very basic sort of way of fighting. He likes to go to the ground. He's very predictable in that sense.
He does and he doesn't, in my opinion. He does in the sense of what he wants. He wants to take you to the ground. He wants to get on your back. He wants to try and choke you out or ride you out.
Yeah, for sure.
But he has an very unorthodox style of striking. He moves around very weirdly. And it might be because he's just weird at it, so he knows that he has to chuck in a weird style. But there's been a few wins where against Pedro a while ago was a good one because Pedro's just a better striker, but he stand up and bopped with him for ages because he just kept throwing these weird little angles, these weird elbows, these weird kicks, and then with those weird angles, he uses it to wrestle. So it's but then you know what he's going to do. So Sean's pretty long as well. So Yan had some trouble. Granted, Yan's pretty small, but he had trouble taking him down in certain areas. Early he had success, and then late he had heaps of trouble.
Yep. And Peter Yan's very fast too, and
explosive.
Yeah, that's right. So if Sean O'Malley can do that against someone that is short, fast, and explosive, then you can almost expect that he's going to be not in a comfortable position against Sterling, but with someone that is a little bit taller than Peter Yan, and sort of doesn't have that striking that Peter Yan has as well.
That fear factor.
Will that come into play here? It's a really good fight. Good fight. I'm fairly sure that that Aljamain Sterling is well up in the odds at the moment, but I don't think that's it should be as blown out as what it is.
I think he's like a $3 favourite or something.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna go with a little bit of a ballsy one on this one. I'm gonna say that Sean O'Malley has had it planned for a while that he is going to have this fight. He knew that it was going to be Sterling because he's just been ready for it. So his camp has been based around it for a while. Yes, he's had a lot of time off fighting, but I'd say that he's been having some pretty good camps. And I genuinely think that Sean O'Malley has a shot here.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
And most definitely. If he's going to get him, he's not going to get him in the later rounds. O'Malley doesn't have that fight, 5-round fighting sort of thing, and he
doesn't have the experience.
Yeah, that's right. He doesn't have that experience in 5-rounders, but I have no doubt that he will do fairly well. But he will be looking for that knockout on Aljamain Sterling, and I'm going to say that it will happen in round 3.
Yeah. Bang, there you go. So you're going with Sean O'Malley, knockout round 3.
Going with Sean O'Malley on this one. Is this where you can make a recovery on last week's failed Justin versus Dustin?
It makes it tough. Because I was kind of feeling the same. I'm not sure if it's because not the same type of stoppage, maybe not the same round. I don't know, but I was kind of leaning towards Sean O'Malley a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think the same thing, especially him being such an underdog, $3 underdog. I'm like, oh, well, he's actually really got a shot. And I rewatched the Peter Yan fight the other day, and I was like, oh, he does really well against Peter Yan. Peter Yan does a lot of kicks, leg kicks and whatever, but he did really well against him. And the striking of Aljamain Sterling's just not as close. And Sean's one thing is just keep him off, keep myself standing,
Yeah.
and I will knock him out.
Yeah, that's
Kind of
right.
thing. That's how I feel.
Yep.
But at the same time, I could be underestimating Aljamain, which I've done a lot.
So
I thought Henry,
yeah.
I thought Peter Yan would beat him both times. And the first time was obviously controversial, but then he beat him, and I was like, fair enough. And then I even thought Henry Cejudo was going to beat him.
Yeah.
And then bang.
Aljamain
got up. I was like, here we go.
And I think there's always going to be that controversy of how he got the belt to start off with, you know, and will it sort of last forever? He wanted to earn it, and to be fair, when he did earn it, he won some pretty impressive fights leading up to that match, and then obviously getting the belt through, you know, no contest is a bit rough.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, he's done fairly well with holding the belt in this sense. But will he still be able to hold on to that? I think everyone's just still thinking that he doesn't have it in him. But this fight will be a proof that Aljamain Sterling can have a crack, and it will be good to see.
For sure. Taking down the UFC's new superstar in a sense.
Like. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It'll be a big fight for him for sure. A lot on the line for him here.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I don't know. There's a chance. There's obviously a chance for both, but I'm leaning towards Sean, but I half want to go against it just to see if we're the ones this one. But yeah, if Aljamain does get his back, it's probably game over. Like, because Aljamain is just so good at, once he gets to your back, you just can't get him off you. Like,
and he is one of those fighters that will wear you out, and you know, does everything that he can to.
He stays very active.
That's right, definitely. His backpack is probably is what he's most renowned for, and it's scary when fighters are in that position. You know, I think anyone in that position knows what he's capable of there, and
for sure,
and they do not want to be in that situation. So. No doubt Sean O'Malley's ready for that, but I don't think he can really do much against, you know, Sterling if he gets in a position where he's on that. So,
if he gets to that position, that's the thing. You've got to get to it. Yeah,
that's right. He's still got to get there.
Yeah, I hate to copycat you up, but I actually am feeling Sean O'Malley for a knockout.
Let's go. No,
I reckon TKO.
Man, that's gas. We're back in the underdog in the main event.
I'm back in the underdog,
and I respect that, and I think it's good. I won't say that I'm a massive fan of Sugar O'Malley, but I respect what he's doing, and he's a fun fighter to watch when he is fighting. So let's really hope that Sean O'Malley gets up here and gets the upset and throws a little bit of spice over the whole competition.
100%. He's going to shake up the division a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, most definitely. There's that meme going around. There's a photo of Sugar O'Malley and Sean Strickland, and they're both like dressed up in just hell weird shit. They're like, these could be your potential new fighters, new champions at the end of the month.
Yeah. Oh god, the content coming out of those two is just going to be ridiculous.
Oh, it'll be so good.
Savages.
So good. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. So going with the underdog on that one for sure.
Hang on.
But that wraps up our card there.
Yeah, beautiful stuff.
So yeah, that's kind of it for the card. We do have some other like little top news type of things we can talk about. So like the only other thing that I really wanted to talk about was Nate Diaz versus Jake Paul.
Yep.
It's been done.
Yep.
It's happened.
Nice. It's happened. And
we always kind of support our MMAs.
We always went for Nate Diaz. And Nate Diaz did exactly what he needed to do in that. He just needed to go the distance, have a bit of fun with it. And, you know, the fact that he was going for that guillotine at the end was the big go. I remember sitting there with the boys and we were sitting there watching it on TV. And just, even though, like, in the first 5 rounds, he was getting pummeled and he was taking a few hits. At the end of every round, he was just walking out like this, and it was like, all the crowd was getting around him, and everyone wanted to get around him, and he did exactly what he needed to do, and you know, a well-deserved paycheck for Nate Diaz in that department.
For sure, yeah. He said he made a lot. I think he said he made like 50 million or something crazy.
A stupid amount of money, and good on him too. You know, he's had a pretty tough run in UFC, and the man has bled for what he's done, but I think he definitely deserves that paycheck. It'll be really cool to see them run it back in MMA. That's what they've said they want to do. I don't think that's even going to be remotely close. I think Nate Diaz is going to kill Jake Paul in the octagon, and fighting with PFL for which is a bit of a screw you to Dana White and
UFC,
but, Dana White said he's happy for Nate Diaz and all the rest, but in the same respect, good on to both of them. They had a good fight. It was tons of fun to watch, and that's really, really good in that sense.
Yeah, 100%. God, Jake though in MMA gloves, he's heavy and he's got a big right hand. So like in MMA gloves, it's kind of tough, but at the same time,
I mean, you could argue that Nate Diaz isn't going to have as much luck there because he is fighting two weight divisions up from what he was before. So yeah, that makes it definitely interesting. That's for sure. So let's hope that that's not going to be too much of an issue. I don't think it is because Nate has the experience.
Yeah.
But let's see what happens when they run it back, if they run it back.
If they actually end up running it back. Yeah, but and then there's I did kind of want to talk about Conor McGregor. They say it's official. He's fighting Michael Chandler.
Yep.
There's a little toss up there.
There was oh man, it was shaky who Conor McGregor was going to fight, and we were all sitting there going, "Oh god." And especially,
what's the point of Tough?
That's right. I really hate to say it, but Tough was a little bit of a flop this season, and it's a bit rough. It was just a poor way of drafting who's on each team, and
experience versus inexperience. So
we've discussed it, and it was a bit rough. And unfortunately, we've seen so much on Tough that Conor McGregor wasn't really there for his team, and it rocked up late, and didn't show. And even when they were discussing what weight they were going to be fighting at, Chandler's sitting there talking to McGregor's coaches, and McGregor's off. Posting Instagram stories on his yacht and stuff like that. I really want to see Conor McGregor just actually give a shit about it. I just don't think he does. Yeah. And it's going to be, I think it's just going to be disappointing when they fight. I love the hype train of Conor McGregor and what he's going to do when he comes back, but wouldn't it just be awesome? I mean, he's now claimed that he's going to fight Chandler, he's going to fight Justin Gaethje and then Nate Diaz. Yeah. I don't think most of those fights are going to happen.
Two of them are definitely not going to happen.
Yep, that's right. That's right. I think Michael Chandler at best is going to happen, and those fights would be awesome to see if Conor McGregor won. If Conor McGregor was taking it seriously, really having a crack, wasn't cashed up from his Mayweather fight, and was actually grinding and having a look, and had almost had the potential to come out and win this. I think that would be awesome, and that would be gas, and it would create so much hype. But unfortunately, I just don't see that from McGregor, and it is kind of disappointing.
Yeah, the fight side's different to the hype. He can kind of still hype it up a bit, but I wish we just got a little inkling of the old McGregor in his fight style. So that it brings so much more excitement because he was really, really good. And from the last two Dustin fights, it's it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, that's right. You can't ever rule out.
Still a mystery.
McGregor. That's right. You still can't rule out McGregor, but on the same respect, he doesn't take his fighting seriously anymore, and you just do not see it. He's just there to get drunk, promote his whiskey brand, make money, and that's it. He's not. I'm on a Conor McGregor hate train at the moment, aren't I? I know. I'm going for his head, bro. But shit, man, he's just not.
He sucks at fighting. No.
Yeah, that's right. He's a bitch, and I'm calling him out right now. Conor McGregor, if you're watching this right now, it's on, bro. Give me that pay-per-view.
He definitely would be.
But yeah, look, I don't see. I just don't see any of his fights that he called out happening, except for the Chandler fight. The Chandler fight will happen. But he's still got to jump in the USADA pool, Yeah,
that's still a little bit controversial there. But they say it's signed in a sense. UFC, even if they just kind of switch the piss cup out or something, they're just no, he's fine. It's as healthy as.
May as well. May as well. That's right.
Just let him get in there.
That's right. Just cheat him out. Fuck it. Even if he comes forward and says, okay, he's tested positive for fucking steroids, we're still going to put on the fight anyway. And then no doubt Chandler would still win, even if he tests positive.
Chandler's going to give it a real bad crack. He's hungry. He's always been hungry.
That's right. He's been so ready for this fight, and he's been training so hard. And he's been awesome to watch on Tough. It's the only reason I'm still watching it is because how much Michael Chandler gets around his fighters and has really taken the time to invest in his people. And Michael Chandler all around is just a good bloke and a good fighter. I love Michael Chandler. And it's just sort of come against like a good guy, bad guy with tough, and I'm definitely siding with Chandler the whole way through on this thing.
Fair.
He's been a good bloke about it.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor is just a washed hype train, and that is all he is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just don't see. I see Chandler being his last fight in the UFC.
That's fair. That's a fair
I just
argument.
went off on him. But
Yeah.
no, I've sort of had enough of
this
Conor
is-
McGregor, and he's just dick teasing for what's been years now. So,
Yeah. This is the We Hate Connor show.
yeah, that's right.
No, I actually agree with most of the stuff you said, though, to be fair. Like, I actually do love Conor McGregor in the sense of his fighter and who he is. Like, he's just an enigma. Like, he's just so wicked. Like, but at the same time, it seems like he's definitely lost his hunger. His face has changed.
Yeah.
He doesn't take things as serious. He's definitely about his image a lot more, which he always has been. But I don't know. He's still rocked up ready to fight. Now he doesn't rock up ready to fight. He just calls out stuff on social media and then just doesn't back it up.
He just
is a bit
seems
annoying.
drunk 24/7. Like he just like, oh, okay, there's some sort of fight happening. Yeah, I'd fucking smash you. Like, yeah, bro,
Yeah.
like cool. Like we're not interested in this in the slightest. So
Yeah. And we'll do that.
I'm not interested in the slightest.
Yeah.
Talking smack, do not care about Conor. Well, I don't.
Yeah.
But
No, that's fair. No, you heard it from him. Talkers back don't care about Conor McGregor.
that's right, bro. Conor McGregor, I'm calling you out, brother.
Yeah.
I'm calling you out. Once you start taking things seriously, then I'll back you in again. But for now, you're off. He's off the main event.
Yeah. He loves the EPO episodes, so he'll be watching.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. That's
He
what
follows
he's
the
in it for
show.
now. Yeah.
No. All right, well, that kind of tops us off today, guys. That's just some extra news on top of the UFC card there. Definitely follow the predictions. I don't support gambling, but definitely gamble on them.
At least gamble. Gamble on mine so far.
Yeah, definitely stick to Aries' game plan here.
That's right.
His heart seems to be more clearer.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. UFC fights this Sunday. Also, check out the website. And thank you for coming along for the ride, guys.
Bang on. Yeah, it's too easy.